After you watch this weekend's playoff games, I know you probably asked yourself, are the Steelers going to be competitive next year in 2024? Do they have the cap space? Do they have the ability to get better in critical areas? Welcome back to Mike Drop Sports, everybody. I'm Jason. Let's talk about this Steelers team moving into next season and what they have available at their disposal. Currently, they're about $15.6 million over the cap in 2024. Total cap liabilities of $267 million. That's top 51, $259 million in their top 51 players. So you're looking at about $114 million on offense. Defensively, you're spending about $150 million. The Steelers currently have 60 players under contract. Now, some of these contracts will go, some of these contracts will stay. You have players that aren't even going to be close to being on there, practice squad guys, things of that nature. You have guys that aren't going to even matter. You're going to have players that are easily cut. You're going to have guys that if they do get rid of them, it's not going to matter against the cap. There won't be really any dead money for them. The dead money in cap savings, you have the big names like Cameron Hayward that's going to count for about $22 million on the cap. So if Cameron Hayward were to be cut, guys, just per se, I'm not saying the Steelers will cut him, but that would give the Steelers a dead cap of $6 million, but it would give them in the positive $16 million. So that would get them up underneath the cap. So then they could start working and renegotiating contracts just with one move. Say they got rid of somebody like, we'll say Mitchell Trubisky. He would be a dead cap of $4.6 million. And he would only provide you $2.9 million in available cap space. Is that a move you want to make? How do you renegotiate that contract to bring that number down? Do they restructure some of these big name contracts? Like TJ Watt's cap number will be $30 million. And if he were to be cut, just say you would get $18 million on that. I'm just saying these numbers can be kind of mind-blowing is what I'm trying to get at here, guys. But again, you have TJ, Cameron Hayward, Minkah Fitzpatrick, Deontay Johnson. These guys are eating up the majority of your cap. Alex Highsmith, Larry Ogunjobi, Allen Robinson is an $11 million cap hit. I look for the Steelers to get rid of him because if they do cut him, that'll be $1.9 million against the dead cap and $10 million to the good. I don't foresee Allen Robinson making a return to the Pittsburgh Steelers. There have been rumors out there tying Tyler Boyd, who will be a free agent, to the Pittsburgh Steelers, to where he wants to come home and play for Mike Tomlin and his hometown team. I look for that move to be made. I think Tyler Boyd would be a crucial piece to this offense, and I think he could really supply some splash plays and really try to make this team a lot more versatile on offense. If you add a player of Tyler Boyd's caliber, a hometown kid from Clairton, Pennsylvania. He's won state championships inside the state of Pennsylvania, inside really the city of Pittsburgh. This kid is a thoroughbred hometown kid that really, well, not a kid anymore, a grown-ass man who's made his money in the NFL, who could really come here under a team-friendly deal and really make some noise. And I think if the Steelers really looked at it and got rid of a guy like Allen Robinson, and you dedicate that $10 million per year to a guy like Tyler Boyd, I think you could really make some noise, because you couple him with a guy under contract, Deontay Johnson, who's a cap hit of $15.8 million. I think that could really make some noise here, especially with George Pickens in the fold, Calvin Austin in the fold. Adding just a dynamic guy like Tyler Boyd makes this wide receiver core now absolutely dangerous, guys. I'm telling you. And the Steelers might not be that far off. But now you ask yourself about the quarterback position. Where do they go in that? We're really going to have to see. But again, the Steelers will have to move a lot of money around, cut a lot of people off their books to free up some of this cap space to be able to go out and get a quarterback. Their best options probably to try to re-sign Mason Rudolph. So you renegotiate. If you want to bring Cam Hayward back, let's renegotiate his deal. Try to free up $7 or $8 million from Cam's salary cap hit. Try to do that and then apply that to a guy like Mason Rudolph. But I think the most pivotal part of this would be is to really cut guys like Allen Robinson, and you got to bring in another weapon in that wide receiving core. If you can add Tyler Boyd, I think that really makes the quarterbacks on this roster currently, Mitchell Trubisky and Kenny Pickett, a lot better. It really does, in my opinion, because you have now a lethal set of weapons out there, a foursome that could really, really stretch defenses. You have a speedster in Calvin Austin, adding a guy like Tyler Boyd, who is a great slot receiver, who will block, who plays aggressive. Who can make big catches and score points. I think that really helps a guy like Kenny Pickett, per se, if the Steelers aren't able to sign a guy like Mason Rudolph. But you ask yourself, how do the Steelers really fix this $15.6 million deficit and still rebuild enough to be able to be competitive with these other teams like the Chiefs, the Ravens, the Bills? But the Steelers weren't that far off, guys. Yes, the defense failed. I think they need to really fix some things on defense, especially at the inside linebacking core, and I think they need to add some young defensive backs to couple with Minka and KZ and those guys. Let's take a look. Is Dermontae Kazee? Yes, he is under contract with a $3.875 million. That's cheap, guys. That's really, really cheap. You get Dermontae Kazee. You get him back there with Minka again healthy. You have a young Joey Porter Jr. Maybe a Corey Trice comes on and stays healthy and has the ability to get in there and play some significant snaps eventually. I think if you go out in the draft, maybe grab a couple guys, maybe in free agency you're able to bring in a couple young, fresh sets of legs. I think that you could really shore up that defensive backfield. And hopefully Cameron Hayward will be healthy, Larry Ogunjobi, guys like that along the defensive front. But you really got to get that inside linebacking core. You got to get them fixed up, guys. And what about Quan Alexander? Let's see if he's even on here right now. I'm not sure if he's even on here. I don't think they have Quan signed, but we'll have to really break it down and look and see how that is. Keanu Benton, they have him. Keanu Neal is signed at $2.7 million. Yeah, Quan Alexander is going to be the one. But here's another one that we could get rid of, guys, that I think is expendable, and that's Chuks Okorafor. He is an $11.8 million cap hit, guys. So $3 million to the dead, $8.75 to the good if you get rid of him. So just getting rid of Allen Robinson, restructuring Cameron Hayward, and getting rid of a guy like Chuks Okorafor could get you about $20-25 million freed up in good money that you could spend. That allows you to go out and maybe sign a guy like Mason Rudolph or a quarterback that could compete for Kenny Pickett and push him to be better. Or you could put all your eggs in Kenny Pickett, and hopefully he takes the leap if you're the Steelers. Do you go that route? But you could free up a lot of money with just that. Say you get rid of a guy like Patrick Peterson. He's $9.75 million against the cap. If you were to cut him today, June 1st, $2.9 million. That's what the dead money is on him. You save $6.8 million. Are you willing to get rid of him? Cole Holcomb's going to be a tough one because of his injury. He's $3.2 million to the dead money and $4.3 million to the good. But I think Mitchell Trubisky is going to be a really tricky one, guys. You don't want to eat that $4.6 million of dead, but it really doesn't make no difference. You're really going to about $2 million in the wash if you really look at it. Actually, a little bit less. It's going to be about 1.5 million in cap space that you'll probably gain out of that situation if you really look at the numbers, if you were to get rid of Mitchell Trubisky. So it might not really matter that much, but it could free up a little bit of cash, but it'll eat at you a little bit. But you can really break down some of these big name guys, and they will probably restructure their contracts. That's how this really truly works a lot of the times. You'll get guys that will get salary bonuses, roster bonuses. They will put a lot of this $30 million, $22 million, $21 million, $15 million in those guys. And the Steelers still don't have a quarterback on there that's eating up $50 million of their cap. So they're still in a good place. And if they give a lot of these guys money in bonuses, this frees up tons of money. I look for the Steelers to be after everything's said and done, they get under the cap, all that good stuff for the season. I look for them to be about 25 million, 30 million in available money once all those restructures are done and once all the cuts are done. That's where I look at them to be. So you'll need about $8 million, probably $9 million, maybe even, we'll just say 10 million of that to sign rookies and have a little bit of money available if something happens down the road like the Steelers like to do. So I think that allows you to sign guys like Tyler Boyd. I think that allows you to go out and maybe get an offensive lineman somewhere. But you're not looking at other things too. What about Spencer Anderson? What if he comes on the line? Things of that nature. Guys that didn't play that could possibly, help out. Then you're going to get guys like Dan Moore Jr. probably off the books, guys. He's only counting for $1.2 million. And that's just the real crazy part of it. $1.2 million if he were to get out $174,000 in dead money, but you gain $1.5 million. So Dan Moore Jr., I look for him to be gone, or he's going to end up having to move over to right tackle. Other than that, I don't see anything else happening with him. I think he was a big liability. What about a punter, guys? A punter that's $1.75 million against the cap. $1,075,000 against the cap, sorry. So if they were to cut him, it'd only be $20,000 dead, but they would gain another $1 million. I think that's an option too, because Presley Harvin was a liability. He did not perform in the way that he should have. I think he's going to be gone. Jaylen Warren, $989,000. If you were to get rid of him, that'd be $4,985,000 to the good. So these are just the numbers for 2024. They're going to change drastically. You're going to look at different things. The Steelers are going to be in 2025 in good shape if everything stayed the same as it is. You're looking at them with 60 or with only 22 players contracted moving into 2025 with cap space of $122 million. So if the Steelers work things correctly, they can really make some big splashes here, in my opinion. Really big splashes. Let's look at some of their free agency guys. That are going to be coming up here in 2024. Levi Wallace, he's going to be an unrestricted free agent. Montravius Adams, an unrestricted free agent. Miles Killebrew, unrestricted free agent. Big-time guy on special teams. Marcus Golden. Quan Alexander, unrestricted free agent. The Steelers had signed him to a $1.3 million. So, yeah. It's going to be big here. James Pierre, Armon Watts, Chandon Sullivan, Blake Martinez, Mason Rudolph is an unrestricted free agent. Miles Boykin, an unrestricted free agent, but he's been kind of playing year to year. Godwin Ibuku, he's a restricted free agent. Elijah Riley, unrestricted. Chappelle Russell, restricted. Christian Kuntz, the long snapper, I look for them to bring him back. He's a restricted free agent. I look for them to bring him back at about $1 million a year. I look for him to get a little bit of a bump. He'll be at about 1.2 million in my opinion. Considering his excellent play for the Pittsburgh Steelers. And just some other scrubs, guys, that really don't matter. But the big ones are Mon Adams, Miles Killebrew, Quan Alexander, Chandon Sullivan, in my opinion, Mason Rudolph. I'd like to see Miles Boykin back in a special teams role. He cost you about $1 million probably. You might be able to get him on the vet minimum next year. That might even be the vet minimum. I'm not 1,000% sure. So there are options for this team, guys, and they aren't that far off. And if you really look at this team and break down the nuts and bolts of it, this team can make some waves. They aren't in a desperate area. They are built now to win. They really are. They just need to fix up the holes that are significant. And I think they're going to have the resources after they play with this cap number and after they restructure some contracts to really fix this thing. And we're not even thinking about the draft just yet because Omar Khan had a great draft in year one. Let's see what he can do in year two. Does he build more? Does he get better? That's going to be the real question. Can he get better at what he does, and expectations say yes. Expectations say that he can get better, and hopefully with some of the draft capital that he has, maybe that will give him some, extra oomph. Maybe he can make some deals. Let's take a look at the Steelers available draft capital. That's going to be a big one to look at, guys. I think that that's going to be the most pivotal part of this here in 2024. I'm going to try to bring this up now and see if we can see what the Steelers' full list of Pittsburgh Steelers 2024 draft picks right now and what positions they hold. So, they have a first round, a second round pick, a third round pick, a round 4 pick from the Los Angeles Rams, a round 4 pick. So they have 2 round 4 picks, a round 6, and a round 7. So total, the Pittsburgh Steelers are looking at, how many do they got here? Let's see, guys, how many they are working with. You're looking at about, 2, 4, 6, about 8 picks currently right now. So what if the Steelers went out there and made a trade or something and grabbed a little bit more draft capital? That could definitely happen. Right now, the Steelers have 7 draft picks entering the 2024 season. They have all but one of their own picks. The only pick they're missing from their own stash is a 5th round pick that went to the Rams alongside offensive lineman Kevin Dotson and their 2025 6th round pick. So the Steelers will still have a pick coming from the Rams in 2025. In return, the Steelers received the Rams' 4th round pick in 2024. That's why they have 2, and their 5th round pick in 2025. The Steelers are not projected to receive any compository picks, guys, so don't look at that this year as something that could happen. But the Steelers will be sitting, about 20-something maybe? 23, 22, something like that, after making the playoffs, so they're not going to be in a horrible spot. But with that extra 4th round pick, what if you try to trade up maybe? Try to say, hey, let me package my current 1st round pick and add a 4th round pick and move up a couple spots in the NFL draft. Maybe that could help to get a big name center. I think that that's where you need to look in the 1st round if you're the Pittsburgh Steelers. Mason Cole is absolutely horrible. That's going to be another one that we need to look at under the cap and see what is going on with him there, because that is a big thing for the Steelers is Mason Cole and that poor center play, guys. That poor center play. Mason Cole counts for $6.2 million, guys. And the good news is if you get rid of him, the dead cap is only $1.5 million. That gives you $4.75 million to the good. I like that. I think that would be a real positive, guys. I think the way that will work is going to be nice if the Pittsburgh Steelers just cut him out and get rid of him and really set their sights on a guy in the draft. And if need be, guys, I hate to say it, but you really can't find good centers inside of the free agency market typically because people hold on to them. Centers, you look at centers and you look at organizations, they hold on to their centers forever. Look at the Steelers, your team, just for instance, Dermontti Dawson, Mike Webster, Marquise Pouncey, guys of that nature, they hold on to them forever in a day, dude. They let them finish out their career. They pay them what they want to pay, whatever they want. They don't let them go. Once you find a good one, you don't get rid of them. And that's where the Steelers have really struggled since the departure and retirement of Marquise Pouncey. And that is going to be a big thing. Even our kicker's only a $4.7 million hit, and he's one of the better in the league, guys. It'd be all dead money if you got rid of Boz, which I don't foresee them doing at all. Najee Harris is going to be a $4.15 million hit this year. And I'm wondering how that will work with Najee Harris. Let's get into his profile here and see. Najee Harris in 2024, 2023 over the calculation, $6.6 million is what they're evaluating him at. He was drafted 24th overall by the Pittsburgh Steelers in 2024, in his 4th year. He will be $4.15 million, which will total out to be $198 million, and give him a total cap number throughout his years of $13 million. So that's pretty decent. cash due in 2024 is 2.49 or 2.4 million. So what do they do with him? That's a big thing. Are they going to be able to re-sign him to restructure that, get him in, at a little bit better cap number with bonuses and things of that nature? Do they try to sign him long term, or how do they work that out? Do they wait out another year and then try to get that 5th-year option? I'm not sure how it goes for Najee Harris. He was drafted in 2021 was his first year. So 21, 22, 23, 24 will be his 4th year. So, hey, it is what it is. We'll see how that goes. Drafted and signed in 2021. I think for his production, it's been a fair price at $13,047,000, excuse me. But I think that that's a fair price for the production that he's given. I just hope that he starts to become more steady inside of that Steelers offense as time goes on. But running backs are a dying breed, and the Steelers aren't going to pay them because nobody pays the running backs anymore. So we'll see how that works off, or works out. Or the Steelers going to be comfortable trying to bring in a guy cheap like Jaylen Warren, or did Jaylen Warren prove enough to where he can go out there and demand some bucks? Those are going to be the things that we have to really look at, guys. So a lot going on within the Steelers, draft numbers, all that kind of stuff. Just a lot going on. But the big question is, are they going to be able to compete? That's the real question. And I think the answer could be yes. I think they are going to be able to compete. And I think they are going to come back looking better than they have for quite some time. And I think if they can solve this quarterback situation and get somebody in there, even Mason Rudolph, I'm not sure if I'm ready to roll with Kenny, though, in the next season. I don't like that. But like I said earlier in the video, if you add some depth at the wide receiver position, especially in the slot, and get rid of a guy like Allen Robinson, who had little to no production, and get a guy in there that's going to put up some numbers, I think that helps out the tight end room, and that helps out the other wide receivers in terms of freeing up some area to work. And I think that that's big for the Steelers, and I think they lack that a great deal this season. No one really respected the play of Allen Robinson in the pass game. He did play okay in the run game. He was able to block and do all those things, but I don't think people really respected him, and they didn't really show special attention to him. And if you're going to have a guy, just say like Tyler Boyd, and he's going to be matched up on all the time one-on-one, that is going to free up some big area for him. He is going to do some damage and force some teams into making sure they cover him, and that's only going to be good things for the tight end room, for George Pickens and Deontay Johnson, and the quarterback, and whoever that may be could really benefit from that situation. So I think that that's a pivotal signing for the Pittsburgh Steelers moving forward, is getting the services of Tyler Boyd. I think that would be priority number one for me, because that really helps out your quarterback room in a big way, and it trickles down throughout the whole offense and allows you to do a lot more. We're going to see about where they go with this offensive coordinator position. That's going to be something we talk about moving forward as the Super Bowl draws to a end here. We're already at the conference championships game, so about 3.5 weeks. I look for the Steelers to probably make a hire, if not sooner. We'll see how that goes. But maybe they're looking at guys that are still in the playoffs. So we'll see how that goes. We'll see how they handle that situation. But the Pittsburgh Steelers aren't that far off, guys. They aren't in that much trouble. I think that they could really do some big things. I think it looks from the outside maybe they are in trouble after seeing, the teams perform this weekend. The Steelers don't look like that, guys. They don't. But possibly, just possibly, the Pittsburgh Steelers could really make this thing work under the tutelage of Omar Khan, really constructing this roster in a fine way. We'll see how this goes moving into the summer. But that's going to be all for today. I hope you enjoyed the show. Come back to Mike Drop Sports. We're going to cover the Steelers the whole off season. Don't forget to like and share the videos. That helps us out so much. The numbers have been down since the season stopped, but that's to be expected. People aren't watching the Steelers stuff as much. But let's show our fan base, let's show the world, the country, that we still really love our Steelers, and we still want to talk big time about our Steelers, and really put our name out there, guys. So help us spread the word, and I would appreciate it. Until next time, I'm Jason. This is Mike Drop Sports. Peace.